Although cross-country bikes aren't designed specifically for technical trails, one look at the very best cross-country riders shows they are more than fast enough. So what are the secrets? Well, here are 5 things for you to work at. Line choice is always critical in mountain biking, but on a cross-country hardtail, perhaps even more so. You're going to have to choose different lines than you might do on a bigger full suspension bike, because your bike is simply going to reach the limits of its ability far sooner. So when it comes to line selection, you can ride big rocks and big routes, but on repeated big hits that you might find yourself getting a little bit overfaced and then potentially losing control. So, for example, like a big gnarly rock section. And in those cases, it's simply a case of trying to pick the smoothest line that you can to avoid the biggest hits.
To give yourself the best possible chance of finding the right line, look ahead a good few meters down the trail. The faster you go, the further you need to look. And looking ahead also keeps your head up, which helps put your body in the right aggressive position and lead you through turns. Just remember, don't fixate on obstacles though as you see them. Focus on the line instead and then move your gaze beyond it.
When riding out the saddle, you want to have your pedals level and then be crouching over the bike with your arms and legs slightly bent to absorb the shocks, but maintaining clearance over your saddle. Now, if you do drop your seat, then you also want to drop your heels. But with your saddle in a fixed position like this one, then it's better to have your feet closer to parallel with the ground to give you that little bit more room to maneuver over the saddle. Although on climbs or on pedally sections where you need to be seated for efficiency, you can sometimes hover slightly at the saddle to give the bike just a degree or two of movement underneath you. Now, one thing that goes in the favour of hardtails is pedal clearance. Generally, it's a little bit greater on a hardtail than on a full suspension bike. So what it means is that you can actually keep pedalling for longer through really difficult sections. And I also find there's an extra bonus that pedalling through really rough or technical sections actually really helps to keep the bike under a bit more control. Now, you'll see it if you try it. It doesn't even have to be a particularly rough section of trail, but do one run freewheeling through and then one run pedaling through. Compare the two and you'll probably find exactly the same. Aside from pedaling, there is another way to conserve your momentum, and it's a great skill to perfect. Without suspension, or just with less of it, you have to absorb more of the shocks to keep your wheels rolling, so you need to learn to ride light. Clearly there's actually no way of making yourself lighter, but you can unweight for key sections. And this means that you bounce on the pedals just before a rough section of trail and then effectively try to float the bike over it. It's like a very primitive form of bunny hopping, and anyone can do it, but to take it further, it is critical to learn to hop. Hopping shouldn't just be reserved for bigger stuff though. It's amazingly effective on small imperfections in the trail as well. Any tiny bump or rock or root can be hopped in order to preserve your momentum. And you can actually do it while pedaling as well. It might seem a bit labour intensive at first, trying to float over every lump or bump, but believe me, when you get comfortable doing it, it will make a big difference. The final trail skill to unlock your potential on technical trails is to get comfortable having your wheels slide around underneath you and doing unpredictable things. Whether it's rocks or roots or mud or dust, when the trail gets tough, often the only way through is to let the bike move around underneath you. Generally, this comes from experience, but you can speed the process up by finding a short patch of roots or rocks, then riding it over and over again, getting familiar with how the bike responds and finds its own way. So there are 5 key ways to ride cross-country technical trails faster. You've got to think about your line choice, going around obstacles, not necessarily straight over the top of them. You've got to think about your body position, conserving momentum, and then finally, just get comfortable with your wheels sliding around underneath you. Now, we mentioned bunny hops as an absolutely key skill, so why not click up there and you can learn how to bunny hop in just 60 seconds. Then, to do technical climbing, why not click down there and watch that video. And finally, you need to subscribe to GMBN if you haven't already done so. So a shortcut is just to click on me right now. And if you excuse me, I'm just going to go and ride some more technical trails because I'm quite enjoying myself. Just subscribe before I go. I'm waiting. All right, thanks.